sit down. Coming out of PE town. Find a drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
And there we are. We're in again. It's been a crazy night tonight. Not normally for the Gino spot do we have two in a row.
Yeah, long night.
The corporate thing is busy.
Yeah,
That's why we got to get it in. And I know you got this Llewellyn Collett. We've got you here from Pinion. You've got the new thing on your shirt, the new branding. Everything's ready to go. From ACS, it was now Pinion. Well, tell us a little bit about the company as well, just to show where you come from.
Yeah, Gino, we started 40 years ago. Jeff Avery started us. It started with a company actually called Agricultural Computing Services.
I was going to say like 82 now. Then as well.
Yeah, probably just before then.
So okay, all right.
So and through word of mouth, it spread.
Was he a boykie?
He was actually a Stadttown boy.
Stat. There we go.
So actually originally from Alice, and they farmed in Alice, and then their farm actually got repossessed, and not repossessed, expropriated with compensation back in the previous government.
Yes. All
right. And then set up an agricultural advisory firm. It started off as a computing firm, and 40 years later, it's grown to what it has now.
Well, obviously, with him being involved in agriculture, it was an agri kind of focus as well.
Yeah. It was actually recording the milk production of cows and that kind of technology, which is now pretty much a given in every single milking parlour you go into now. There's some form of technology that exists there and does it automatically. So
it's like everything gets to a science in the end, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, even and ACS was what was ACS in our opinion. How do you fit into this whole structure now? I mean, from an outsider looking in as a musician, you know, I'm like a Philistine when it comes to this sort of thing, you know. I mean, people talk about SAPs, they talk about these systems, you know. How does it work?
So look, I think with Pinion, it's we just joined a global network, global network of agricultural professionals. US and Australia currently based, and it's just the best knowledge that's out there. And between us, we're sharing that knowledge in our own small way. Through that, we're hoping to enable the change of actually world food production. Long term, that's the goal. If we share enough of the best practices in the world, enable the best farmers to have those farms that they're busy farming, will actually change the world for the better, which is a big mission statement for us.
Yeah, I know. It is compared to, you know, obviously ACS is also, nothing has changed as far as staff goes and your systems that you've got in place here. I think Pinion, although they are an overseas company, it's not. I mean, these guys were in the States. It's in the States and in Australia, I believe.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so they've formed this little triangle, I suppose, at the moment.
Yeah.
And at least they're able to, you're able to share knowledge. I'm sure you guys have got systems in place that they'd use as well.
Yeah, we do. So I think that's the strength of it. When you join people with shared values, what we find ourselves doing is just is sharing information, and I think we all align to creating, just a better place in terms of for our clients that make them more sustainable in the long term.
I mean, because being a farmer is not an easy task either. It just seems fraught with like risk. I don't know.
There's a heap of sayings about farming around risk. I don't know if you saw that quote by Jeremy Clarkson about farming. So he said he always used to think that the rain was positive for farming. He's learned that now that he's a farmer, that it's either a drought or it's a flood or it's rain, and nothing's ever really positive. Everything's a risk.
Everything negative.
So there's a better quote than that. But
Yes.
and if you can look it up, it's actually quite interesting to see once you go into
Well,
it.
he
But,
dived into it as well. He was like, he's a car guy.
Well, that's the thing. Lots of people from the outside look at agriculture and get into it. It's actually a phenomenal investment. If you go and look at agricultural land as an investment class over the last 4 decades, it's been one of the most outperforming, robust investments that there could have been. Like we're talking, double-digit and US dollar return kind of numbers, but it's about choosing the right one.
Yes, because when crops failing.
And to your point, I mean, in commercial agriculture, there's just becoming less and less farmers. Actually, there's a lot of consolidation, and the best farmers are just eating up the rest. And we're seeing fewer and fewer farm owners and more big corporate or family corporates that are taking up the bigger market share.
Do you have a on your books? Is it a it's across them? I mean, we're on your books, but we are musicians and things that must be as far away as possible. We must be on the edge. We're outliers for you guys.
Look, but there are lots of those. I think in commodities like in farming, you learn to be able to do things and understand the cost effectiveness of it, and it's applicable across any business. I mean, you guys and musicians, what you need is good accounting systems that are cost effective. Because your margins are always under pressure, particularly when a COVID hits or whatever else can come along.
And we need some proper advice to pay less tax. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. It's everyone's number one mandate.
Jeez, unbelievable. I mean, there must be lots of, obviously there's similarities across the board, but you guys really dig into that agriculture. And is it mainly dairy? Is it mainly meat? Is it what sort of industries are you guys in?
Yeah, so I suppose 80% of our clients are dairy, and we are pretty much, I would suppose, one of the leading exponents of the dairy advisory in terms of the country. Our clients actually produce in excess of 40% of the country's milk. So, we've got a lot of
deal with
divisions
woodlands as well. Woodlands.
Yes. They're one of the big off takers in the areas.
Yes. When there's clover, I think they're here, and there's all sorts of.
Yeah, I mean, 13 years ago, we also with our clients set up our own processing factory out at Kuche.
Processing.
So a UHT factory that
is that now part of what you guys do as well? Is
no, it's standalone. It's owned by them. For my sons, you know how it goes. Everyone gets busy, and the clients want to focus on their own business, and I end up having to be chairman for the last 5 years, and I've been on the board. So that's been a journey.
What's that called?
It's Dairy Group. So we've got a joint venture with Famous Brands, and we.
No, the guys at Nanacha also part of that as well.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah. Okay, brilliant.
So, so for my sons, I sit on that board or chair that board.
Oh, man. With all those farmers out there moaning at you about this and that.
No, mainly milk price, that's the thing that matters to dairy farmers.
Well, I suppose for the farmers as well, then that would be a group thing where you can at least share costs of it. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's sharing in the downstream from the product. So that was the idea. When we set it up, the Eastern Cape actually didn't have enough processing capacity. So we had a whole bunch of milk being transported in this raw material in tankers up to Joburg. Which is excessively expensive.
Yes, of course. And all that road freight, it's all costs.
Yeah. So, and at the same time, there was a need for UHT. So we set up a UHT factory. A year later, Famous Brands saw the story of these 13 crazy farmers that started their own factory.
Yes.
Gave the CEO a ring and set up a cheese plant with them. So, I mean, that's Debonair's and Wimpy and all of their cheese is coming through the factory. Yeah, so it's quite a...
Where exactly is it? Well, I see not Tiger Brands, Famous Brands.
In the IDZ on the left.
Yes.
So we in the other side. The factory is actually on the other side, in the main manufacturing department of the CDC. Yeah.
Big. Yeah. What's big? I don't know.
Yeah.
What kind of advice do you give to your clients? Because I mean, you guys, I mean, it seems so broad, as well.
Yeah, we are. I mean, look, we are holistic in terms of that. So we've got 5 different business divisions. As a whole, I sit in the advisory portion of that. In terms of business advisory.
So you sit over the top of the saying, well, this is going wrong. They come to you and say, Llewellyn, this is going wrong here.
So yeah, it's always specific to a client because whether it be in agriculture, whether it be in any other industry, it has to be tailored to that business. Yeah. So, for example, farmers are all resource specific. So we are firm believers in matching the system to the resource and not just duplicating systems. And the same thing goes for every single business. I mean, you have to have you can't just recipe a business. It's not. It's a franchise. Yeah, sure. Wimpy, you can have a Wimpy, and that's what you have to have.
Franchise.
It's already there. But I mean, even the Wimpies of the world, they would have chosen which location they want to be on. Next to which petrol stations, that they know which ones it works. They've chosen those resources already, and then they can.
There's a whole science in that. I mean, I know when they do the spas and they do these things. I mean, those. You find the location first. You find where it is, what it's doing.
So I mean, we spend heaps of time in terms of analyzing structures, restructuring businesses, in terms of just who owns what, putting it in trust. We believe in sustainable intergenerational businesses, so planning beyond just the you and now, the succession that goes in creating wealth for the family long term. So not only about creating more money in the short term, it's about how we handle that and how we pass it on through the generations, how we ensure the structures are in place in terms of human capital to either have the business survive with family members in it, which is probably the most complicated bit in terms of that intergenerational planning, particularly when you get to the third one, when you've got cousins in the business and the likes. So
it's a nightmare, actually, because I know, I mean, if you think about it, every single business goes through this sort of thing where the business starts off and you start as an entrepreneur and you've got this new thing and you just go into it. Well, if it's farming, you're going into this farming, and then your business grows and it gets to a certain point where it's really doing well, and then you're getting older, and that succession planning is always the bastard, because you've never got time to do that. It's like I'm not going to die yet, man. I've got to wait. I've still got. I haven't got time to do this now. And so if you do plan earlier, it's so much better for those that are left behind when you're gone.
Well, I think it's not only for those who are left behind; it's for your staff that remain in the business.
It keeps everything just moving along.
Going. I mean, we never know when our time's going to come along in any time. So, I mean, I know clients that just had a burst appendix, was out of and suddenly the business comes to a grinding halt.
But also you can't handle it anymore. Like you get to the point where they're getting old, they want to retire, they're like sick of this thing, but they can't because nobody's there to take over. And then it's got to be like a short-term solution to try and do it.
And those are dangerous. And always when you look at age profile of a business, as you're getting that older, your risk profile changes.
Yes.
So if you don't bring in the next generation of people, whether that be as management, whether it be as a family member, because it's very often the right person to be the CEO of the business isn't the family member.
Not family,
The best return that family member could be is be a shareholder and go sit on the beach and let someone else run his business, because don't let poor people run your business.
Yes.
But just that varying risk profile in terms of the different generations that are coming through. You see it so often where the son comes into a business, got all these fresh ideas, and the dad has to temper it. But without that energy, there's no change that happens. And actually what happens over time, the risk profile means I won't do anything anymore because I'm not willing to take a risk because of my age profile. It's natural.
Of course.
So if you don't build really good intergenerational kind of different levels of people throughout the business, you'll find eventually that group think comes. Now, if everyone's old and you end up with group think, what you find out is a business that's not willing to take any risks.
It's so true. It's so
and
true.
It'll actually shrink. And then if everyone's young, they'll be taking risk galore and we'll be going bust left, right, and centre, and then be a phoenix and make a fortune every now and again.
So you've got to have that. You need the crazies and then the handbrakes.
And I mean, there's a reason why those guys are there. They've seen it all, and they can just give guidance to that youth and energy.
No, we tried that. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? So that's great. actually you put a nail on the head there about any sort of business, and that you need a partner as well, and particularly with finance. You know, when you've got a business going, like ourselves. I mean, I'm a freaking comedian. For me to go and sit and organize accounting or business planning or anything that's admin related, or it's like I'd rather poke my own eyes out.
No, I think that's every entrepreneur, though. Gino, I mean, you're a comedian, but you're also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I mean, in the end, and every entrepreneur hates administration and red tape, and unfortunately,
you have to. You can get into so much cuck.
You can, but in this country itself, I mean, a while ago, our governor's coming out, we're going to make the red tape go away to enable small businesses. What they've done is exactly the opposite in every single way.
Right.
So our role in one of our business units is literally we've renamed and kind of branding it as this business solution. So what that is,
red tape removal.
Let's just give you time back by taking away all of that terrible crap that you don't want to be doing. You want to be making jokes.
Yes, absolutely.
In the case of the farmer wants to be out with his cows or growing a crop or
sorting out
whatever. Every
tomatoes.
businessman just wants that time, and that's what those real business solutions things are about. It's about creating time.
Yeah.
And that is the most powerful thing you can have. If you can take your time and spend it working on your business, that just releases so much potential. Instead of working in your business and having to sit there, I don't know, filling in a health and safety form or
or some audit
or some other thing. So
it's like it's the audit. It's like all of a sudden you've got to do these things, and then at least you've got that person to find. Like, hey, listen, okay, they want to do this for me. Can you help? The agricultural industry. I mean, what about agriculture? How do you guys fit in there? Any challenges?
Yeah, look, there are heaps of challenges in the agricultural industry. Primarily, look, if we just focus on South Africa as a whole, we are a semi-arid country, first and foremost. Yeah. So we're trying to produce food with the lack of the most fundamental issue that we need to be able to do that is actually water. The other thing is post-apartheid, all subsidies were removed. Okay, so what we've seen is this evolution of these highly efficient farmers with no subsidies. So if we compare ourselves to European farmers, we compare ourselves actually to New Zealand and the like, and we benchmark. It's just one of the things we do is we benchmark all the farms against each other, reporting all that kind of stuff. Is that the farmers have become super efficient. Okay, the challenges for them is when people start talking about land claims and expropriation without compensation. You're building this asset, and it's incredibly expensive to get hold of the land tenure. Now, if the land tenure becomes under threat, your ability to be able to raise capital disappears. If you don't have working capital, or a business will starve. If you can't feed the business, it falls apart. And we see that the whole time when it's particularly in the emerging economies, the Transkys and Ciskys, where those emerging farmers are trying to set up businesses, but they have no access to finance. Why? Well, from the chief, they don't have a lease agreement. So no bank's going to give them money. They don't have the surety to be able to put it up there. So the big challenges in South Africa are actually land tenure and the ability to be able to raise capital against it. Not for the commercial farm anymore, because he's got land and he's got all those kind of things. So he can just carry on growing an exponential business because he just picks up the next one, the next one. He's got an asset base that sits there. But when people start talking about expropriation without compensation, it puts just a different slice on that. And what we've seen...
Everything's at risk.
So everything's at risk. So if you look at that, what's happened, particularly, and then you add load shedding on top of that. In what is generally an energy-hungry, commoditized business, you've got load shedding and people saying, hang on, I'm now spending 35, 45, 100 million on generating my own power just to insulate my own business. So we're seeing a whole bunch of where we should be expanding in agriculture, where guys are just standing and going, I have to insulate my business, so I'm going to produce my own energy. Or, hang on, I can't carry on expanding. I need to build an offshore nest egg that just protects me. So for a whole bunch of time, the agriculture has been limited by our government policies to a large extent in terms of the mindset of the farmers of those commercial farms. They've gone and said, I need X $1 million offshore. Once I've got that,
Yeah.
Cool. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. We've seen that in our clients. They go and they say, that's my target.
Yeah.
X number of million, whatever the number is in dollars that makes them comfortable. Once they hit that, and until they hit that, they're like, South Africa's buggered.
Yeah.
The next moment they hit that target and they just see opportunity left, right, and center because it's unlocked that shackles. And
yes,
I think that's so important in terms of business strategy. When you sit there and you analyze, sit with families and you set up their strategy.
Yeah.
And finding balanced portfolios and the likes. That you sit there and you set up and you go, okay, that's our target. And it's amazing every single time we've seen someone hit that target, whether it's $1 million to whatever the number is, relative to theirs.
Yes.
And again, it's that personal thing is like naught's good enough for me because I'm South African. No. But for other people, it's $10 million. So it has to be whatever. But that ability of saying, well, I hit that target and now now it enables me to be able to do so much more. And it just takes the shackles off them to be able to do business risk-free again.
It gives you, then all of a sudden they don't mind getting involved and taking those little risks and whatever they need to do because they've got that nest egg. Yeah, you're right.
And obviously, I mean, that's the ones that, all that energy is common to the whole of the economy. The economy itself, in terms of agriculture, well, it's kind of got us pretty stuck at the moment. So, every time I analyze it and say, well, we're growing at 1.5%. I mean, we've been in stagflation for the last 10 years in South Africa, if not a recession, essentially. So our weak local economy is really hurting, and it's hurting a lot of industry. If you look at commodities now over the course of, the last 12 months, beef prices crashed. Sheep prices crashed, wool prices crashed, maize prices crashed. So all these commodities are just dropping off. So there's a lot of pressure on a lot of people at the moment. But the core reason is no one can afford it. When's the last time you went and bought a loin shop for your bra?
Hey, it hurts you.
And then you've got load shedding that's compounding that because the butcher doesn't want to buy a whole sheep and have that exposed to load shedding. So it's just those kind of things. So a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities that come along with it because those that are performing within there are doing exceptionally well. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, this is the business that you've come from as well with ACS 360, I think it was, and then now that Pinion has taken over, this maybe a bit of expansion into Africa. Do you guys? I mean, what are we're talking about SADC countries here? We're talking about right through. What I mean.
Yeah, so we've actually looking at within ourselves within Pinion Sub-Saharan Africa. So everything below the equator. Basically.
Yes, okay.
But and the main reason for that is exactly what we were discussing earlier. It's resources because to be able to produce quality feed, you need to be able to have high quality resources.
Okay.
In South Africa, generally, I mean, the agricultural sector's taken most of those that were available. So now we've got Cisco and Transkei available. Actually, there's so much opportunity there.
Okay, wow, okay.
For whatever.
For farming, whatever.
At Norga, there's 5,000 hectares of gravity-fed irrigation, which is standing idle.
Wow. Gravity-fed as well. So
it's worth a ridiculous amount of money. The amount of food that can be produced off there in South Africa alone is immense. But then you got an apathetic community, a chiefdom sitting around there, and access to that land is now limited. So what's getting produced off there is massive. So now
how do we
commercial agriculture's kind of looked at it and had a go at it a couple of times, standing there and going, not really interested in that anymore because I bumped my head twice.
Yes.
And much of that, look, I'm a passionate South African, but you do kind of get that where eventually you go, well, hang on, let's look north, and you go and look in Zambia's and Zimbabwe's again, and those kind of things. And I mean, Zimbabwe's going
really
mad. I mean, you talk to the guys that are
Post
there.
Mugabe, and you think it's. I mean, what is it? What is happening there? Is it? You say it's growing?
Yeah. The government. I mean, when I was there a year ago, the thing that struck me most was that everyone was building all over the shit. So yes, they got high inflation levels. So what they do is they take the check and they buy the brick the next day to make sure that they don't lose anything.
Yes,
but literally everyone was just building, and everywhere there was development happening. So
that's a way to keep your money safe, I suppose. You've got it in land.
Yeah. But I mean, there's businesses doing phenomenally well up in South Africa and the like, and there's fantastic resources that are up there. So,
but I know countries like Rwanda and Ghana and those places also are just exploding.
So that's the opportunity for us is our clients are going there. We've got multiple that are heading up there.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more. And the focus of just the world in terms of agriculture, it's a massively defensive investment, and it's actually the flavor of the investment world again.
Yeah.
So there are a whole bunch of funds that are dipping in it, so Africa is going to.
So
Africa
by funds, you're talking about foreign investors coming. I mean, big money coming down from Europe and America as well.
So Africa is going to explode. It's always been had the potential to.
Yes,
be the breadbasket
it is
of the world.
the one continent that just it seems relatively untouched by all. I mean, you go across Europe, you just go from town to town to town, where the agricultural land is also.
And the regulations there are becoming quite stringent on look at the Netherlands in terms of methane. I mean, they've openly said, the Minister of Agriculture said, dairy farming in Netherlands within 2 years won't exist because of
methane, because of the cows.
Methane and cows, which is interesting.
Jeez.
Because in pasture-based systems, I mean, there's a whole bunch of research been done that pasture-based systems well run are carbon positive to carbon neutral. So it's very interesting stuff that's out there, and as not even about the half-life of how long methane lasts. That
sounds like conspiracy theories.
There's lots of that stuff that's around there.
Yeah, no, but
So I mean, the world, this whole YouTube environment we kind of live in, and everyone on social media and all those kind of things, people just react. They don't actually fully research anything, and they haven't quite understood all the scientific papers behind it. And that's part of the reason why we wanting to join a global network is you want the facts and the proven techniques. You don't want to just be going out on a limb and risking whatever your whole life's work on something.
It strikes me that the obviously the advantage that we can take knowledge from Pinion globally and then bring it here so that our local guys can benefit from it as well. And because I mean the relationships with your farmers are good. I remember Mel and the guys talking about, they know the guys.
Yeah, well they do. I mean, Jeff's first client, Jeff who started is still a client today.
Really?
So it's just the strength of the relationship that we've
very old.
Well, it's the next generation that's actually in now. It's a succession. It's his kids that are in there. So for us, it's just so pleasurable to work with people that are also like-minded with you, and have the same kind of goals. We got our goals is for them to excel, and in the process, hopefully, we can continue to build.
What parts of the business? I mean, just to give an idea for somebody that doesn't know Pinion at all, what parts of the business do you get involved in?
Yeah, so business advisory and agriculture advisory. So the agriculture advisory is basically anything from growing grass to cow analytics, data analytics,
machinery,
benchmarking,
whatever,
all that kind of stuff in there, and then just restructuring and focus on these areas to make more profit.
Is that where you deal with guys like Northfield Engineering and those guys who do the tanks and things?
Yeah, Northfield and them do the tanks for a lot of our clients, and I mean we'd be working with them. We actually have a partnership with them in one of our data analytics companies because they started with them. They started owning a data analytics company, and we took over the person and the business because it was closer aligned to us. But they still do.
Because you said the stats. Is that what you guys do with stats, with that stuff?
Yeah, it's full on data analytics. Yeah. There's so much data that's available out there, and what that company does is actually give the farmer the report. Again, the farmer, if he wanted to, could go and spend a week sifting through information and get the same information, but he doesn't have the time.
Yes.
So we give him a report and saying, focus on these areas. This is what your data is saying, what's going on.
Yes.
So through doing that, we're just speeding up his reaction time.
Okay.
So those are one of the things we do. So that's in the agri advisory space. So we can walk onto a farm and say, well, change this, change this, change that.
You need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we got a full accounting firm. So
good accounting stuff. Yeah.
First thing we do is make more money.
Yes.
Number one.
You produce more stuff.
Continuous improvement. Yeah.
Okay.
The second thing we do is actually try and say, okay, hang on, how do we get these reporting structures correct?
So you're not wasting money.
Yeah. Save as much tax as possible. Make sure compliance is in place, etc., etc.
Because if you don't know about tax, if you don't know if you're a farmer and you don't know how to put stuff through, you end up paying. I mean, the SARS is not going to come to you and say, listen, you don't have to be paying that and you don't have to be paying that. You need somebody to say, no, listen, they say the rule is like this, you can do that and that and that.
And there's a lot of legal loopholes. So we just continually trying to evolve in that and get ahead of the game.
I mean, it's got to be legal, but it's like you've got to use law to the best of your ability. Absolutely.
So that's the other one. Make sure we keep as much of it and keep it legal.
Save their money. Money.
Actually, this is the order that the business units came on as well. It's first the Agri Advisory, then it was the accounting one.
Yes.
The next one we started was actually through that is our human capital business, which incorporates BE, so BE structuring and BE advice and that kind of stuff in terms of how to get your BE scorecard up.
Yes.
Was one of them. But
because that's also a minefield as well. If you don't know anything about government, you don't know about what you need to get in, because that's a whole bunch of legislation that you have to get right.
But out of that came the need then for a full-on human capital service, because, as I said, our clients have been expanding, and it's not just one person looking after his farm anymore. They're looking after multiple farms. So now we've got HR, but the top end of HR, so focusing on assessments, building the organograms, that kind of stuff. Not very much the bottom stuff. Find the people, build the top of the structures within the business, and through that and through skills training, actually upskill the business so that the business becomes more profitable and more efficient in terms of its people.
Okay.
So that was the next step that evolved in our business.
So it's like agri, then the money, and then the people that are going to be handling that as well. Okay.
And then we've got on the side of that one, there's actually a full-on training company. So in terms of skills training.
That's the FETs and that thing. I think my wife was talking about that too. So the CETAs.
Yeah, so all the CETAs through all the YES programs, all those kind of stuff that we enable the clients then to
What's a YES program? Sounds nice.
Youth employment.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean that's
another section there.
It's a section within there, which is a full training company. We run courses. We train people. It's actually core within us. We believe in transferring skills. We don't believe in a dependency-based model. We believe in transferring the skills to our clients so they can do that and upskill, which makes them independent of us. And that's actually it's a weird thing. Yes. We actually want
putting yourself out of business,
independent, but it creates a situation where they become better and better and better. And then the last division we got is a wealth management firm. So
that's where you're making your money.
We've made your money now. Stash it, and what we do with it,
somewhere.
What the strategy with it, and all that.
All right. My word, and so that's another investment company as well. That's part of it as well.
Okay. Right. So that's all the business units. So we literally want to be a one-stop shop. We want our clients to be able to come to us and say, hey, I want to focus on my core business and be entrepreneurial and work on my business and just take all the stuff away. So in terms of our commoditized business offerings are just make our clients time. And then we've got some grey hair and best class stuff, which is you're doing that wrong. Just we've seen this before. We'll sort this out for you.
Train this person to stick in it.
This is the way, that's the way. So I mean that's and then I mean
that's organic. That's organic growth, really. If you think about it, it's like it's what that original farmer needed. That's finally you've got enough clients there, then you got more clients, and then into the HR, into the finally right up to the pinnacle, which is then the investments, where they're making enough money to be able to invest it. So, and it's like, come help me now. It's from the beginning. It's like, jy help me nou met my plaas. Kan jy nie bietjie help met die geld, hoor jy?
Well, that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly how all those things played out, because we'd be doing this. And then we'd go with them to someone else, and we go and look at what, for example, in the wealth management space.
Yes.
We go and look and say we've set up these structures, which mean that they don't have anything in their estate, and and then the wealth manager would be giving advice, and we'd look at this and say, this business is got all succession planning in place. It's got it doesn't need that life insurance policy that you pay for. What is it? What's it there for? No. But so we thousands of random made a fundamental difference in terms of the way that we consider wealth planning and wealth management and all those kind of stuff. Because we first believe you look after your business.
Succession.
You make sure the succession and the structure is correct.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, you don't
That
need to
makes
sell
so
a whole
much
bunch
sense.
of life insurance. And sure,
Yeah.
okay, someone like me who's got a professional services business,
Yeah.
very different to someone that's got a hang of a big asset base and a fully succeeded model that's come in there. And we're working on our succession within our business. But,
okay, yes, always. I haven't got time for it now.
I'll take that.
Dave, just listen to what he says, not what he does.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
And you get there. But it makes so much sense what you're saying now, in that that especially in the life insurance sort of thing as well. You know, you're paying so much money for this life, but if you've got a good enough succession plan, because you're gone. It's for the other people that life insurance is there. You know, if you're going to die.
Which is critical. I don't want to leave my 2 kids and my wife destitute.
No, but if there's enough in there that will give them stability once you're gone, then it's fine. You know, and then you can save money. You save money because these people paying all the time. You know. So
that's one of the things we've also kind of changed our model as well, in that we haven't changed ownership, but we are really focused on building a succession-based model in terms of our key partners in the business. So,
yes,
we've set up our business that we're not paid on the day we retire. We're paid based on the 10 years future profit. Okay. So what that means for us is we have to make sure we've got good people in the business. We're encouraging our clients to be like sustainable and intergenerational. Yes. So we want a firm that goes along with it.
Yes. You're practicing what you're preaching.
So that's kind of how we've set it up. So we do actually believe in it.
Good. I'm glad. And I mean, what about your now you've got these international partners as such. I mean, this Pinion is now international. Tell us a little bit about it. What we're in America and Oz.
So, as I said, this bringing best brains to South Africa has always been something we've tried to do. I mean, in the very early days in the 90s, Jeff used to take groups of farmers over to New Zealand to go and look at what they were doing and copy what they were doing and bring it back here. Okay. My first 6 months with ACS, which was straight after I finished PwC, we went over to Tasmania, met a gentleman over there that was boss, and we said, this is our mandate for the trip with one of my clients, and brought him back to South Africa. Yeah. And since then, he's been back here every single year since, basically.
Wow. Okay.
He's actually a shareholder in our agricultural advisory firm. So Basil has become a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Spent a lot of time with him in cars and on the farms and So the background there is, I mean, it's strange how life plays out. So there were 5, his agricultural advisory firm in Tasmania merged with 5 others in Australia and formed Pinion.
Wow, okay.
So, but the first one...
All over Australia, is it?
Yeah, it's all over.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So his advisory firm, which was Tasmania-based, merged with that, and 5 firms came together in March 2020, which couldn't have been an easy time to do a merger over Teams. During COVID. So they merged and formed Pinion in Australia. But that was on the back of having a discussion with a US-based company called Cradock. And before that, Keiko had been over to Australia, had been talking, and Keiko had looked at their name and such. I mean, in Australia, Kennedy is a relatively well-known name.
Yes,
when they used to put in Keiko, like they used to end up on page 100 of Google. So eventually, and it was like it's in the mid-60s size of accounting firm in the US, which is pretty big.
Okay.
In comparison to South Africa. So they had developed the brand name Pinion, and they were about to transition. They went over to Australia, met the Australian guys, and said, "Let's go and create this thing together.
This Pinion
let's
thing.
Create this network." So Pinion Advisory in Australia was formed. Keiko rebranded to Pinion
as well. Okay.
That's where we.
And how did the ACS get involved in?
Well, because of Basil's involvement, we kind of end up having conversations.
That was your Tasmanian.
The Tasmanian guy. Yeah. And we set up businesses in Tasmania. We've taken our clients there. We bought farms in Tasmania.
Wow.
In Australia that he looks after for us. So
also
multiple
dairy,
of those. So dairy farms
farms in Tasmania.
which is, I mean, it's, if you think about it.
I think Tasmanian devils. What's that?
Yeah, there are not that many of them there where they're under threat. But I mean, it's a phenomenal place. High water rainfall. 99% of the water runs into the sea, which is
99%. So
actually very interesting.
You teach them about dams.
Yeah.
Ship it over here.
There's so much rain there, it does just run out. And it's a hydro scheme. So Tasmania itself is a state in Oz.
Yeah.
But it's actually a carbon positive state, believe it or not. It's one of the, I think it's the only one in the world that's a carbon positive state because of the amount of forests that are there, the water that runs out, etc., etc. So
the greenery.
Yeah.
And I can hear Gary typing furiously, so I know he's got a thing. I see there's a couple of comments as well coming on there too. Say, how's it? Who's saying hello? Let's have a look. Andrew Barton, great to see some focus on the agri sector. Indeed, Andrew Barton. So the farmers get a raw deal. And let's get some of the farmers in here.
They're much more interesting than I am.
No, we're gonna have a quick look at your history now as well. We're gonna put you.
Find us up.
Mel Sutton there's Mel. How's it, Mel? Such a great show. Yes, of course it is. It is. And amazing to see the guest played cricket with his dad Hilton for the Standard Cricket Club in Cradock.
Yeah.
Are you a Cradock boykie?
Yeah. We grew up just other side Cradock.
No way.
Family the farm's still in my family.
Okay.
My brother played for it. I played a couple of games for my dad and my butter are both Hilton.
Okay.
And so it was interesting. I mean, I played a couple of games for it in my time as well.
Nice. A bit of cricket and a bit of sports. Well, so you grew up, you went to school at Cradock, what?
No, there was a farm school, so up until
last school.
Standard 2, we went to school, which actually it's at the tennis club, which is also on our farm.
Oh, really?
There were 11 of us.
One teacher.
Yeah.
So
one teacher for the whole class. Yeah.
Who was your teacher?
First it was Auntie Judy, then Auntie Moira.
So
and literally they were all related. They were related, so they were actually aunties.
They were real aunties.
And then Standard 3 off to boarding school in Grahamstown.
Oh wow! So where did you go to Grahamstown then?
Kingswood. Yeah.
Kingswood College.
So I was third generation.
Wow.
My but's kids are fourth generation.
Grahamstown.
Yeah.
I like that. So a bit of Lower Albany there going into your blood as well, eh?
Yeah.
Which is also a big dairy vibes there down that.
It is.
Too.
Well, a lot of settlers there moved everywhere.
Yes, the 1820 settlers, yes.
Well, that's us. They call it the 1820. We were on the ship.
Oh, right, of course. Did you have one of your groups that you put together, like the Salem group and the Collett group?
We do have a Collett group. We were supposed to have it was 2020. We were supposed to have our 200-year reunion, and actually all got cancelled because of a little virus.
Yes, oh my word. Okay, so and then high school also still started.
Yeah, I started Grahamstown
all the way through.
All the way through.
You go to the festival every year.
I hated the festival.
Did you get away from it?
No, it was for me. It was a great time to escape and head home, and generally it was during hunting season.
That's what everybody says.
Oh,
we were loving it. Gary and I, we were there every year.
I'm not the most cultural of fellows. I spent my life on a sports field, and
Oh, that's good. Any things about your youth that you so you've got a couple of brothers and sisters here, haven't you?
Yeah. I got an older brother and an elder sister. So my brother's on the
youngest.
Farm. Yeah.
Oh.
Brother's on the Forwell Farms.
Are they watching tonight? Was he a little bastard when he was younger? Was he? Like
listen, he's a dairy farmer. It's 8:45. I'm pretty sure that he's asleep by now.
Get up earlier.
And then my sister's got I think she's got in Joburg and Cape Town, got 6 physio practices. So she's,
Okay, gee whiz. So physio's proper.
Yeah.
So sort you out if you've got some muscle issues.
Yeah, big time.
And then what did you do after school then? How did you get into this whole thing? Did you get an accounting thing? Or
I did, but I finished school.
You at Rhodes?
No, I didn't. I chose where to go study because I was going to be a cricketer.
Oh,
on
right.
hood,
Oh, okay.
So I'm following on Daryl. That's a bit
Yes,
weird.
Daryl
that I had to
Cullen,
explain
yeah.
about Daryl.
And Llewellyn Collett and Daryl
No,
Cullen
it's
on the
not in
show
the same
tonight.
league.
We've got cricketers on the show tonight. Mike Van Kuren.
I spent my first year in a cricket academy in B. So I chose where I went to go study. A couple of us that is where we chose to come to B. Yeah, so we came to the cricket academy here.
Okay.
Spent a year.
What year was that now?
Finished 99, so 2000 was.
You're a youngster, that's what you are.
So yeah, I spent a year playing cricket and quickly figured out that I was good.
Yeah,
but there were a couple of oaks in the academy that were a bit better than me. That ended up playing for South Africa and the like. So it was South African Warriors, and I figured out let's rather have some fun.
So you didn't make the Warriors.
Work.
When there was the Warriors, it was like Makaya, John Smits, Lou,
exactly.
Did you feel left out?
I actually didn't. I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew I wasn't good enough pretty quickly. I think that's the most important thing in life is figure out very quickly, figure out when to change your direction.
Yes.
And I also looked at it and I said, look, if I work very hard, and like we grew up on a dairy farm, we knew how to work. So I pretty much figured out right up front there I can work my backside off. Maybe one day get a couple of games for the Warriors if I excel.
Yes.
What they earning, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I just looked at it and I said, well, matter of fact, let's enjoy varsity. Yeah. So I had a great varsity cricket career. Captained the varsity and spent years having lots of fun there. Decided that I had a knack for accounting. And
where did you go? PwC? So did you join them straight away?
Did my articles straight out. Well, no. So when we finished honours, my dad said to me, you're not coming for an 8-week holiday on the farm, son. I was like, I deserve a break. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, varsity's a bit of a screw around anyway. So he actually sent me to Jeff Every. He was our farm consultant at that point in time and said, Jeff,
work.
I'm willing to pay you for my son to come work for you for a month.
Yeah.
So I spent, my first, finished his honours and spent a month working for Jeff. And from there to PwC, got a phone call from Jeff in my third year doing articles, and he said, do you want to come join me? I was like, hey, I had fun, but I'm actually on the way to New York.
All right.
Because I'd been seconded to New York with PwC, and I was like, that'll be a fun experience. We said, we'll come back afterwards.
Okay.
And that
was... he saw something in you then as well. He must have seen a little bit. Maybe the fact that at least you stuck to your job and you did what you needed to do.
But that was 2008, and all secondments were cancelled with a week's notice.
Oh, wow.
Because of the global financial crisis that hit in 2008.
Oh,
so I had this thing, I was going overseas for 12 months with PwC, and I'm going to have a good time learning and seeing there, and would have seen what came out of that. Yeah. But as it turned out, that got cancelled.
Okay.
And then got offered Kazakhstan as a secondment and. Ooh. Well, I kind of picked up the phone to Jeff and said, all right.
Okay, maybe this is a good plan.
I was dating my wife at that time, and I said, well, the whole plan was, okay, let's go overseas, let's do some of that traveling.
Okay.
And we said, well, fine. In this case, let's build something for ourselves, because Jeff actually said, come into the business, become my successor in terms of the advisory side, which I was like, okay, cool, then I can build something and do some traveling from South Africa.
What an opportunity then for a youngster to be given that and say, okay, well, I've got options here, I mean, you probably don't think of them as options at that age.
Well, they were. I mean, luckily, growing up on the farm, growing up in the family we did with a dad that A, is entrepreneurial and B, hardworking, etc. Kind of we understood that.
Well, I think you can thank your dad.
Yeah,
you thanked him a few times.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he is.
Still give you a cup.
Llewellyn, lecture as much as what he used to. We work closely together with my brother, and I mean, like it's actually quite.
Is your bud running the farm as well?
Yeah, my bud runs our farms. So I go up and go to my put and say this the way, that way, change some of that.
Change this, and he says, "Bugger off!"
Yeah, I'm tired of you. You're making me tired again.
You make me tired again.
Yeah.
You just go there and speak to your sister.
Yeah. So it's been.
And I mean, well, now you've got the ACS now Pinion family, you know, and it's the directors there, the three of you.
Three of us at the top level that look after all the business units. Yeah,
it's Mel and yourself and you.
And you, yeah.
Okay.
So interesting thing is that you know, a lot of the stuff, like you say, coincidental, and to me everything seems like it's just lucky in terms of ended up at PE because I chose cricket and ended up doing chartered account because of that. But then, you know, Jeff at that point in time moving on and that opportunity coming for me through that meeting Mel, who is actually the exact foil that I need in terms of being able to do business, because I'm kind of like a seagull. I come with all the ideas, I throw it down people's necks and I disappear, where Mel's there ensuring that everything is executed correctly.
Okay.
And therefore the business actually operates.
No, Mel's organised.
And exactly.
Also a straight talker. She won't take cut from you.
So in terms of that, we've got a team where we've got that person individual. Then you come in with the wealth business and also a big thinker and a straight talker.
Yes. So out of the three of you, who would you say is most risk, the biggest risk taker, the
risk taker,
the most conservative?
Oxenham's definitely the biggest risk taker. Yeah.
You, he's like, come on, let's go. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's a balance. I think that's what makes any team good. I mean, you have to have. In rugby terminology, a bunch of forwards and a bunch of backline players.
Yes, I think it sounds right with you pulling it and you like, hey, okay, cool. And then Mel's like, how the hell do you want me to do this?
Exactly. We often get that from her. So we're going this direction. Hang on, slow
down. How are you actually going to do this practically?
Yeah. So it's great. And then the rest of the team is just, they've come on, like, you know, there are 85 people in the business now.
85.
So
how far is it spread? I mean, where the offices?
Offices. So we got people spread probably more than what we've got offices, but the offices in numerous offices in PE, Queenstown, Tarkastad, and one person sitting up in Joburg. So
and all sort of growing there. So the Joburg guy's got to get his stuff because it's all growing. Yeah. And with Pinion coming aboard as well, I'm sure. Globally, you're going to be getting together and looking at how you can expand as well.
Yeah, we are. And particularly we're looking for more like-minded people with the shared vision in terms of being able to... I truly believe that in order to be able to continuously improve within businesses, we need more and more knowledge to be able to do that. Within our own business and within the agricultural industry. So the more people we've got joining the network, sharing that information, the more that we can actually incrementally improve agriculture. And through improving agriculture, just produce more sustainable foodstuffs, and that way actually solve the world. I don't believe that a yeast is going to feed us for the rest of the world, and we'll be eating a burger patty grown in a in a lab. I truly believe that efficient agriculture is the way to solve our problem in terms of the lack of nutrition in the world. So, and that's what we've.
From the land, it needs that nutrition from the land.
It's something,
the soil. So we just talking about tomatoes with my mate, and he said tomatoes that are grown for to last long on the shelf, or tomatoes that are grown organically or whatever. It's a different taste, a different thing. So you got to get that balance right. And I mean, do you do a lot of like citrus guys, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a couple of citrus farmers, and through this, I suppose the one thing that we don't talk about often is we've done a lot of private equity type deals, where we find guys with farms that are underutilized, and we match them up with their working capital and the managers to execute and turn them around.
Okay, what was like venture capital? Venture.
So we've done a citrus one. We've done a bunch of that kind of stuff that we.
So you've done a citrus one like that as well. Yeah. Is it doing nicely? Is it?
It's going all right. Look, it's still a small operation and going, and it's been done pretty recently, which went through 80% crash in prices.
Crikey, yes.
But it's good. It'll be fine. You know what it is? It's got our water resources and it's an export market.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, I mean, that's when you look at resources, that's what your fundamentals you want to take off. A lot of guys that are wanting that export market ticked and
so I mean that takes also that, like you're talking about the water, the besproeiingsraad. That is Sondagsrivier. And you know, it's and you're saying about that land with natural gravity fed. It saves so much money. It could be so profitable. You're right.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's worth so much that that part of it. So.
And so going forward now with Pinion, I mean, anything that you guys are going to be looking forward to?
So for me, there's so much that's out there in terms of the network already. So if we just look at the water and environmental services, so full-on irrigation design, energy in terms of coming on that.
Okay, so you're talking about like solar, wind farms, all these things that are happening.
It's just the advisory component that thing, Gino, because what we see happening at the moment is, for example, in the solar, the person that's selling you the solar is the person giving you advice.
Yes.
You're very rarely going to find that advice being uncompromised. Same thing with the hydro.
It's going to make profit.
All those kind of things.
The money makes it.
Whereas in Tasmania, what we'd be doing is we'd be saying the right thing to maximize the energy out of this hydro system or anything like that is that we need the hydro built like this. It needs this planting, and you put out a bill of materials, and you say, give us a quote on that. Whether that be a pivot or anything like that, you go and say, this is what I want to quote on. The quote comes back, everyone's quoting off the same basis. So you're not getting screwed on the thickness of the stainless steel that's busy holding something. It's going to fall over, and you have a product that doesn't survive. So those kind of things for me are massive in terms of particularly where we are now with energy here. Water and water efficiency is huge. Water is still going to be the thing that's going to be the most amount of wars about. What we know what we've been through. But it's just the start. I mean, the scarcity and the big and smalls in terms of climate change coming through, that you're going to have big rainfall events and then longer periods in between. So we have to evolve as agriculture, and that's just part of the continuous improvement in nature of it. Is our irrigation efficiencies have to get better.
How to do it.
Our water use has to get better. Our conversions out of it have to get better. So it's just all that information and sharing that information across a global basis is what really excites me. Another thing is for our people, just to upskill them. You know, we've got a large component that is sitting in a accounting firm. And you consider AI or what is the other guy said?
And artificial unintelligence.
It's actually called. I heard someone say it's not artificial intelligence; it's an intelligent assistant at this stage. But it's still going to evolve to being AI.
For sure.
So what's coming with that is that a whole bunch of like auditors and those kind of things, their jobs are becoming relatively redundant. Being able to use that information, interpret that information, and making it more valuable to your clients and upskilling them. That's what really excites me, is that we've got some really, really good people in our organization, and for them to be able to upskill themselves, increase their earning capacity in terms of giving high-end advice rather than just...
Because it could happen fast, you know, so
it's happening fast. It's not good. It is.
It is really. Okay. It's just exponential with AI. I mean, so all your staff, then you can move them into these other areas where they'd be able to, because they're getting
exposure as well, which really means that, you know, the ability to be able to retain them, attract them, and create this opportunity for them to be with us in the long term. And you know, that's what we really.
I like hearing those cogs, and you know how the cogs are actually turning in the business, practically. You know, because your staff is important to you, and you know, we talk about global climate change, like how that's affecting things. You know, I mean, we're talking on like Pinion globally. But is climate change a thing that's affecting stuff, you know?
Yeah, look, I mean, the effects of it, we can't deny. We've seen those events. I mean, I don't know. I can't even get out and run at the moment. It's so damn hot. It's so humid here. We feel like we're in Durban. So
but I mean,
we're seeing more and more of that kind of stuff. So what will come is these bigger rainfall events, and we need to be able to adjust. And hence, I mean, we've seen things like Hogsback, the springs ran dry 2 years ago in those rivers and those kind of things. So those kind of things that are developing, they're happening faster and faster. But I mean, it's just our responsibility within agriculture to be able to evolve with it. And yeah, there is climate change. It's our responsibility to do it. But again, you know, well-run agriculture actually is a lot more efficient in terms of what its impact is on the environment.
Yes. Okay, so I mean, in those factors are going to affect it more than the general global sort of the global effects that it's going to have.
Well, there's one big problem. Oh, geez, that's very controversial.
Controversies. Controversies on.
No, I mean the real fundamental issue when we consider this that no one really wants to talk about. Is the fact the driver of global warming, and I'm a firm believer. Let's get down to root cause and everything. Because if you sort out the root cause, well, everything's like don't treat the symptom. That's just the way it's done. Get to the root cause. The root cause of global warming and all that kind of stuff. There's just too many of us.
Too many humans.
Not too many humans. No one wants to talk about. That's fundamentally the problem. And if I look at the way we behave like a bunch of locusts wherever we go.
No, you'll get a lot of people agreeing with you there. I'll tell you what. So it's just, how do you get rid of the buggers?
Oh, that's what COVID or anything else is trying. He disagrees.
He feels we need
more humans. Is that what Elon Musk says?
He wants to send them to Mars, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, if you can send them to Mars, it might be. I don't mind if they can give me a nice house there. How do you place balancing the need for sustainable agricultural practices with economic growth, productivity, and the need to feed people? That's one of Gary's questions there for you. We're going to put you on the spot. So balancing the need for sustainable agricultural practices. So, you need to be sustainable, but you also need to feed these people.
Yeah. So I don't think any of those things are not linked. Okay. Yeah. So first and foremost, for me, sustainable agriculture is profitable agriculture.
Yeah.
If you don't have a profitable business, it's not going to exist. So there's this fallacy that's out there, and there are words that are very popular at the moment, like regenerative agriculture.
Yeah.
It's all over the show, but there isn't actually a firm definition of what on earth is regenerative. Go and have a look at what the definition of regenerative agriculture is. It doesn't exist. But economically profitable businesses that are highly productive are actually, generally speaking, very sustainable in their practices.
Okay.
Because they are using best practice to manage their farms. Okay. Yeah. And through that are reducing the impact on every single bit. So naturally, for example, in terms of use of nitrogen use, they try and use the least amount of nitrogen because it's most profitable. Without damaging the soils and and they do that on a sustainable business because they've got a long-term vision.
You've got to sustain it.
Now,
so that
if you're going bust, the last thing you can do is think sustainability. Okay. A lot of guys are going bust because the only thing they think about is sustainability. So unfortunately in agriculture, everything is a balance. Okay. So you are always making a compromise decision.
Yes.
It's imperfect. You're working with an environment.
Yeah.
You're working, if you've got livestock on that, you're working with livestock. You're working with people. And then you've got economics over and above that. So everything around that is you have to make a compromise decision every single day. And that's your role as a farmer.
Yeah.
What am I going to compromise to get the best?
Agreed. In anything is just compromise.
And that's the really good farmers make those calls all the time and get all four of those legs to work together.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's such a thing as you have to choose sustainable agriculture. I think sustainable agriculture is profitable agriculture well executed.
Okay.
And then those practices actually create sustainable agriculture. And
so if it's sustainable,
and Basil's written a paper that's been published at World Health in terms of just that exact study of, for example, in the beef space where the impact of highly effective farms and farm managers, if all we have to do to solve the impact of the beef on the environment is give those guys the land that the guys are farming.
Yes.
Because actually what happens is their practices actually drive more grass growth and they could actually be producing more of less. And you could give areas back to the Amazon we never going to, but they just look after better custodians of the assets.
Yes.
Give the best custodians of the assets.
Yes,
the assets.
the people. People that always be there.
But I mean that's the reality.
Gee whiz. It's. I mean the whole sustainable thing that makes so much sense in that if you want to sustain the land, it's going to be. Is there pressure on the industry to create more food, more beef, more milk? Is the pressure there?
Yeah, internationally that's there. If you look at where commodity prices went, it's continually there. I mean, we've got more and more people to feed.
Yeah.
And different ways to do it. So
because that's going to put pressure on that sustainability as well, obviously.
Yeah.
So
the more that the demand goes up, the more you're going to find people moving to other mechanisms. But as again, to me, the best are going to survive. So unfortunately, when things are too hot in a commodity, so when the prices are too good, everyone climbs in and encourages the wrong people to climb in. And again, you have the practices going the wrong way for a little while, and then the price drops again. But that's commodities, eh? That's
where you find in Europe and America them throwing milk down the streets.
Oh, it's just because they actually can't produce it competitively in reality.
And that's just the tax. I mean, well, it's a government pays subsidies and stuff, I suppose. That sort of thing. We don't want that. But I don't think I think here, like I said, there's possibly more of a demand for food.
Well, the demand in Africa is definitely coming. The ability to be able to pay for it is the issue. But that'll come with the growing middle class as our economy will eventually take. Take a while.
Because the middle class seems to be nailed by everything at the moment.
The rest of Africa isn't. The rest of Africa is flying. And that's we have to take either go with our expertise to the resources or take our products up into Africa and into the rest of the world.
What about potential growth here in our country, in South Africa? So opportunities.
Well, within agriculture in particular, what
do we need?
Well, more exports, I think, is critical in terms of our economy. But
get the money.
The biggest issue we have, you talk to a citrus farmer at the moment in terms of what these ports have meant and how they've impacted their businesses.
Oh man, with the problems with the
ports. Everywhere you look within our infrastructure and our aged infrastructure within South Africa, with the lack of a rail that doesn't exist, the amount of margin that's lost because of transport on road and ports that are not working, those kind of things, actually means that our biggest opportunity is if South African infrastructure comes right.
Yes.
The South African farmer, because of the efficiencies they've had to develop over the course of A, a strained economy, and B, the inability of that infrastructure, which actually meant everything's more expensive to get you and get off from you.
Yes, of course, yeah.
If we can get our infrastructure right in this country, we will be we already are some of the lowest cost producers in the world with no subsidies.
Because we've had
to get that infrastructure right.
Yes.
And the ability to be able to ramp up agriculture in South Africa is immense. And then just those skills that those guys have developed, for me, that's just, once I start duplicating those skills, is where the real opportunities are. So once they go, and I think South Africa's biggest opportunity is actually the skills that they're going to take into the rest of Africa. As those farmers and the skills actually go that way. But if we can get our infrastructure right in South Africa, hey, we've got such a pool of experts in their fields here that we take the world on.
So you can take something, in other words, you're taking something that's actually hamstringing us at the moment. But because of that fact that we are getting hamstrung by the power, by the water, by the ports, they are forcing us to find solutions to
and
problems.
We're becoming better and better. And the business is continually improving. If we could get infrastructure in place,
back again,
those really efficient businesses that have just become leaner and leaner and leaner and
so much better,
and so much continuous improvement, they take the world to pieces.
And so we can only that's one positive spin on
a lack of infrastructure that we currently have.
I like it.
It will happen in due course, and you might not be around for it.
Damn you, Llewellyn.
I think I actually think it's an exciting future that comes. We're at a low of lows in terms of where South Africa's been at.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's just so much opportunity that's still.
It can't get lower. We can go. We've got to get out of this hole, man.
Hey, it's election year.
Collaborations. Tell me about collaborations and partnerships within the industry. How important is it?
I think it's critical. I think it drives all efficiencies. A lot of the innovation that we see, we've seen highly successful collaborations within our own client base where where the guys are going to say, I've got land, but I don't have a successor, and guys come in and take it over and those kind of things.
And like you said with this company that you got this what's it, dairy, what is it called?
Dairy Group. Yeah.
Group.
That's a
That
bunch
kind
of
things.
farmers that got together, collaborated, and actually changed the Eastern Cape dairy industry.
Yes.
Because suddenly there was surplus. Today there's surplus processing capacity in where everything was getting transferred. So think about the jobs that were created and through that thing. So collaboration.
Are they also owning a part of it? Or Okay, so they're all part owners in this thing. Oh, it's fantastic.
So collaboration, just to me, is how we change the world. I mean, the efficiencies that are coming in the dairy industry has been because of things called study groups where farmers actually collaborate. They get together, literally compare benchmarking, take the benchmarking, go home and say, why is my vet and med spend this and my neighbour's that? And he's got the same cow and then have a hard look at themselves and change.
Okay.
Because sometimes you need a little bit of a prod to change, and that collaboration enables that. So for us, collaborating internationally just means we can bring more of that stuff back here.
Yeah.
I think the collaboration is going to be that just quickening of that continuous improvement and the evolution of businesses further. Yeah.
But also able to bring your costs down as a group is so important, you know, and also to have that, like with Pinion now from ACS, you've managed to get this extra pool of knowledge, you know, and for the farmers it's the same thing. I'm sure, you know, it's like this group that then all of a sudden you've got bigger buying power, you've got bigger, you know, as a group you work so much better together, you know. Fantastic.
And look, in all collaborations, if you don't have shared values, it's failed at the start.
Yes.
Okay, so just,
shared values.
Shared values are so critical in terms of everything we're trying to we look at. We regard it as so critical.
And I know that with ACS joining with Pinion, you had to look at that as well. And it was quite a big thing. I remember when it went to your launch, it was one of the main.
We spent a lot of time on it. We spent a lot of money on it. And we had full-on cultural alignment tests and
right.
So you can actually do those kind of things, which are fun.
And did you bump heads with anything? Were there any things that you know?
Yeah, it was interesting. I really thought we're my US partners, not here.
They're online.
I actually said it to them. I said, "Geez, guys, you know, one thing about coming in with a US firm, what the views of a US firm is, you know, everything comes from their side and you get forced to do this, that, the next thing." I said, just, wow, that's the South African perception of a US firm. And said, thanks for telling us that.
Dominating.
They came back to us and said,
kick down the door and come in.
It's nice to have some frank South Africans talking to us too, because that's what we are internationally regarded as. We're probably overconfident and very frank in terms of the way we operate. I mean, where were we talking about?
You're saying like the US coming in. I saw a meme today with a US Marine when he opens the door for an old lady. Yeah. But then all other doors get kicked down. But so that's the partnership and basically.
So in terms of our values, when we went and we looked at that, and surprisingly, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they're in agriculture. I don't know if it is.
Okay, the farmers
is what it is. But that group of people, and when we compare our values and have discussions with them and have a beer with them and have general conversations with them, we have 100% values alignment in terms of everything that we were trying to do. Maybe it's because we are professional services and in agriculture. That we've stayed humble because you know, a drought can knock you out at any time. There's always something that can take care of you.
Well, I think as a farmer, and Gary and I will attest to this. We got a boat and we were towing it back this weekend from Piqueni, and one of the wheels just exploded. You know, so we're sitting on the side of the road. We phoned our farming mates. And within like 10 minutes, you got a guy there like helping out, and I think it's that. I think it's the agriculture, the farmers. They live so far from each other. They need to help each other.
Exactly that. If you don't look after your neighbour, that's your security gone. It's your mate gone. It's your,
it's your.
Those are the saddest me when they do have fallouts. It's
Do you have to deal with any of that stuff? I mean, you say capital. There we go. Don't forget about global. Mel says the local. It's the global menu with the local flavour.
Correct.
That's right. That's what she
Mel's
said.
Mel's favorite tip.
You,
So I mean, what's global
Yeah.
is obviously we're a local firm. We locally we're in touch with our clients.
yes, still,
we do that. So, but we've got the ability to be able to leverage global information sources.
Yes.
So we always want to be that. We always want to be. We don't want to change. We don't want to use those relationships that we've built up over the last 40 years. We want to continue maintaining them. In fact, we want them to excel.
Yeah.
We want our clients to excel. Because for me, that's always been my measure of success. If I've gone into any business, and I've walked out there, the thing that gives me the biggest kick is just going, today I made them better.
Well, you're a Cradock boy. You know, you're not going to leave these guys behind. You need to be there for them. You know.
So that's the local component is what we're passionate about our clients. We need to find more people that are in those areas and bring back the global knowledge. Keep driving them forward.
That's great, and I like the fact that ACS is also one of the a big player in that. You know, this is not at the moment not a gigantic firm. This is a global firm that deals with agriculture. They're big, but and they certainly have knowledge that they can bring in there. But it still has that flavor of like, you know, your local people are still taken care of. The common misconceptions about the agricultural sector in South Africa, are there misconceptions?
I think the biggest one is probably that agriculture is a lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Where agriculture isn't a lifestyle anymore. Yeah, it's gone way beyond that. Agriculture is a business.
Yeah.
And as such, the transformation that's happening in workforces and the amount of time that people spend with their labourers, the relationship that exists with their workforces, those kind of things. It's actually a very intimate relationship, and all the propaganda that is out there is just a load of
it's just confusing shit.
Because and there are bad apples. There's bad apples in everything. Of course. But just the general norm is those relationships are so good and so strong, and the care that's in place in terms of agriculture and back to its workforce. I mean, when we benchmark internationally and we go and look at dairy farms, we use 3 times the number of labour that Australian farm would do, but basically, and you go to the guy and say, no, I'm not going to get rid of any staff because I want to look after them and they're part of our family. Essentially. So there's a lot of misconceptions. The fun is that it's lifestyle and the guys are driving around in their buckies, where essentially they're actually managing farms, they're managing people, they're managing finances. So it's a comprehensive business. And I think the other one is that you look at care for their people. Because as a business, you have to. You're looking after your people. If you're not looking after the people, it's going to fall flat.
It's actually, when you think of it in those terms, it does change the way you look at a farm. You know, you do think of it like that, and to a degree that obviously it is in South Africa. There's a history of that, but if you're looking at it as business, everybody gets taken care of. You need every single person in that.
And they need to be happy, because that's how you create a mechanism that is truly functioning.
Happy employees, basically. You know. That is true. And how do you prioritize inclusivity and equity in your agricultural strategy? So that's
it's tough in terms of a lot of the time you're trying to lift up people that are economically in a lower band to try and move them up through that. And there's some cultural challenges in that. But I mean, we've had talkers at some of our conferences in terms of how do you do that? And it's literally through training, repeat, training, repeat, training, repeat, and the truly exceptional do eventually move up through the ranks.
Through the ranks,
it's very they do difficult because you keep sending them back in there, and you have to keep lifting up. But it's through repetition and skills transfer.
And once they've got to lift it up to the next level, it's just it's another one and another one. You also find, I suppose, where their skills, where they're best suited for their skills as well.
And there's also a massive skills shortage here. So agriculture today doesn't look like it used to. You go into what the managers on farms going to look like in 10 years' time. It's going to be totally transformed. It's really totally transforming. So again, I think that's also a common misconception.
AI in agriculture?
No. Just AI in agriculture will, for sure. It's there. I mean, there's data, there's all that kind of stuff. There's collars on cows that are telling you they're cycling. There's all that stuff. There's satellites that are telling you what your grass is growing at.
I've seen some drone spraying and stuff as well.
Drone spraying, drone analysis of watch. So there's a huge opportunity in the agricultural tech space in terms of that. Of course, there's early adopters that get burnt, and then there's there's the guys that are like kind of sitting back and saying, "Well, let's just hang out here and see where this thing's going to play out." But the technology in agri is going to drive a lot of productivity going forward. I actually believe there's not much that it can do that cannot be managed. Yeah. Okay. So a truly exceptional manager and an AI manager, the truly exceptional has got a little bit of art that like a good farmer's got. There's a little bit of art in him. Okay. He's made a decision that he can't quite tell you why he's made that decision. Yes. But he always ends up being right. Now, AI won't ever be able to match that guy. Okay.
AI and staff, I can't see how that's going to work.
So AI will be able to move a poor manager to be able to make decisions better and move them closer to that guy. But it'll never catch that guy.
They have to have special implants in the brain.
Hope we never get there.
Okay, like a contentious issue, land reform, ownership issues. How do you navigate that? How do you navigate those complexities?
Yeah, to me, again, there's so much of it that we need to address in terms of land reform. And first and foremost, start by giving those areas, the rural areas, give them their title deed so that there's a lot of agriculture that's happening there. If I compare what happens in South Africa, we've got these big commercial farming operations. Yes. In Africa, you've got a whole bunch of outgrowers that are then taking their crop to the tobacco houses and. Okay. But they can't actually plant, and we don't have those functions in terms of happening out in the communal areas and those kind of things, because they don't have the capital to do it, because they don't have access to their land. It's not leased from them. They got this hut that's sitting over there or whatever it is, where they don't actually have tenure of land. Yeah. And like the example up in one of the most productive agricultural areas in the country, at this Fisher Valley, there are a whole bunch of farms that are government owned that have been given and leased to a bunch of beneficiaries. Yeah. But they haven't given them a long enough term to be able to do anything with it. So now you're sitting on a year-on-year time of lease situation, and if you're leasing something for a year, you're not going to look after the place, and you can't.
What's the point?
So then repairs go to pieces and where if you actually give that land tenure, you give them security around that tenure. Yes. They will be able to, whether it be by bringing in commercial farmers to mentor them over that in the long term. Yes. We actually put a proposal to government a couple of years ago that there's so much of that. They should enable commercial farmers to come in and disappear. But keep that mentoring relationship, because the reality is in agriculture, it's a 10-year period before you actually half know what you're busy doing, because every season is slightly different. Of course. Now, without that mentor component,
that graph, the rainfall and the whole thing.
Without that mentor component and allowing those commercial agriculture to come in, provide the working capital, so the government doesn't have to do anything. They just have to get out of the way and enable the private sector to do it. The private sector wants to do it. But at the moment, until there's land tenure and you actually enable those people, it won't happen.
I saw there was a court case. I read an article about some guys up that way that have been trying for years to get their land, and they've finally got it now. And I think that went in their favour. Was that I think I can't remember where it was up there, but so that land tenure is like the most important part, because they then care about that land. And
without land tenure, you're doomed in agriculture, because you're a custodian of this thing. But you can't actually look after it long term. And then it just puts everything at risk.
Gee whiz. How do you look at, water scarcity? My tanks are run dry already now. I can check. I was running, I've been running for months and months and months. And all of a sudden they're dry. There's no rain. What's going on? Like how do you address those issues of efficient water management, I suppose?
So, that's one of the things that I actually do believe in technology and quite strongly. So water probes in terms of irrigation, scheduling, critical. I think in terms of where we're going, we are going to end up building bigger dams on farms to be able to store it, because you only get more at a time, and then it's going to be missing again. Okay.
So bigger dams on each farm will then translate into hundreds of dams and much more water.
Yeah, and we do as a country. We really do need to start building dams ago. The last time we built a sizable dam
It's not too
is
long
just
ago.
ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why we're in the situation we're in, because we haven't been building dams, and and our population has been exploding. So you can't do that. You can't. It's like the Western Cape at the moment. You keep throwing people there without improving the infrastructure. You're going to have something's going to go pop.
People is growing like crazy.
So that's what's been happening in South Africa for years around that. But there are systems that are coming in place in terms of water efficiencies, and just knowing when to do it and when to do it most effectively, I think there are actually some really simple execution strategies. But a lot of irrigation that was put up in the past, for example, in water, were just grossly under-designed. So the packages are wrong, the size of the pumps are wrong, and so it's some really simple, basic stuff that actually needs to get done a lot of the time.
But it's infrastructure. That's also government infrastructure. I mean,
even on-farm infrastructure as well. The reality is the way we used to put up pivots was who's the cheapest. And when you say who's the cheapest, they put in
what's the now? Tell me what the pivot is. Okay, this is like
one of those things that go around in circles.
Yes. Okay. Like they've got wheels on it. Is that what it is? Okay. And then they can water their whole place, all their veggies, whatever they need. Lucerne, I don't know, whatever they do there. Some key trends or developments that you foresee shaping the future of agriculture in South Africa. There's some tough questions coming from Gary here.
Getting us. For me, again, a skills transfer and a war on skills and a war on talent. We've got a lot of people in this country, and therefore inherently we've got a lot of potential. We need to cultivate that, develop it. We need to be seriously developing that talent for our businesses to go into the rest of Africa and the rest of the world, because we're going to get poached. We are being poached.
I
mean, I said we've got businesses over in Tasmania. I mean, the amount of South Africans that are working on those, etc., etc. So the poaching thing exists. And as businesses, our responsibility is to
stop the brain drain.
Well, not just to create more, because the potential is there, and within the business structures do that. So for me, the big one to unlock is how do we turn all of these people into what they're truly capable of? I believe it's possible. I truly believe that there's a lot more potential in our people than we ever give them credit for. We've done assessments on some of our staff, on our farm, on our clients' farms, where guys doing the most menial tasks actually had an honors degree ability to learn. So there are a lot of those people that are out there, but we have to spend time with them, educate them, repeat.
Uplift and get everybody to that, to as many as you can and then you've got people that are on the land, that love the land and are doing a job that's really creating a lot of and then exponentially more employment and more everything. It's and I know that like you're saying, with that constant work and training, that it can very quickly get better. And I've got such a heart for the Eastern Cape and PE, and I don't know what you think about it, but there's so much untapped potential here.
I mean, I'm out and out in Eastern Cape. Got stuck here straight after varsity. Haven't left.
No, it's true.
I mean, and
all our friends go over there. It's like,
and then they come back again, because every single time you talk to any of your mates that are sitting in job, they come back.
I think a lot of people would love to come back if the opportunities were here. So let's try and get the opportunities.
But there's some seriously big opportunities coming to Port Elizabeth as such. I mean, you look at one of our clients that have hydrogen thing that's going to be going up here in Port Elizabeth, 20,000 jobs. I mean, the investment that's coming in there is insane, and it's just so exciting for the region actually to have that kind of investment coming.
I love it.
They're talking at our conference next week actually.
Okay.
So I'm really, I'm just excited.
You've got the conference coming next week as well. Eh?
It's
going to be that's going to be fun. I think, and this whole, obviously with the move to Pinion and the whole thing, the conference next week is quite an exciting time.
Yeah. Well, I think we're very excited. We've got Paddy Upton there. We've got Daniel Silk there. We've got guys like the CEO of Hydrogen, Colin Locher there. And some really, entrepreneurs that are sitting there that have done it. They've got multiple businesses. that are sitting on panels, and guys have expanded into Africa talking about it.
Those oaks can feed you. They can.
Oh, yeah. So it's really good fun.
A wonderful prelude to our agri-business conference next week. Such a great lineup of speakers and global marketing partners attending. There we go.
Yeah. So it's going to be great. It's a great networking and collaboration event again.
Any challenges specific to the dairy industry that you can?
Look, the dairy industry's always got its challenges internationally, and I think because of its intensive nature, everything's amplified around just those work hours that people have. Getting up early in the morning, it's much more attractive to go work on a beef farm where you can get out at 8 o'clock in the morning and not 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Oh my goodness!
So it's there. Unfortunately, dairy's got this notion that it is dirty.
Yeah.
In terms of carbons and so that's one of its biggest challenges is actually that. But at the same time, from a protein source perspective, it is an incredibly efficient protein source that can feed the world. So yes, lots of headwinds in terms of that negative propaganda that exists around the dairy industry. At the same time, because it is a cheap protein source and that's what we need to feed the world, it's got huge legs in terms of expanding. Well,
I've got to. Gary's handing me this. Thank you. This is now, Llewellyn. We're getting towards the end of the of the show. So what we do is we've got a little thing called.
I think my colleague put it on their family group and said that'll be the first time you probably ever hear him talk if you log in there because I'm so quiet.
Yes. Oh, but we got him to talk like he's been singing like a canary. It's great. Oh, but this is the getting to know you section. Just a few questions to see the real Llewellyn.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Okay, so first one. Do it on again. We won't do that. What's something particularly spontaneous or irresponsible that you've done?
Last year we bought a caravan. Number one,
which,
I'm not great at camping and those or DIY. To be honest, I prefer to just let someone else in. And then needed something bigger to pull the caravan, so we bought a 10-year-old Land Rover.
A 10-year-old Land Rover
Discovery. Which I think is incredibly irresponsible.
Yes, it is.
So that's what my wife drives around in that, so she can walk if it breaks down. I think
she actually, so you get it. So you can drive it. It's fine.
Well, it was her choice.
It'll break down.
That wasn't my choice. It was her choice. She has to own it.
Land Rovers. Oh my word. Well, they've got a reputation, but sort of ECM I think do them, and they're good guys. So hopefully you got.
I think got a good one.
Yeah, I hope you got a good one. There we go. An experience that you would describe as an adventure in your life.
Apart from owning a Land Rover. No. So when we were in, and he was actually in the same boarding hostel as me at school in the same.
Really? Okay, that's cool. Okay.
So we were in standard 7.
Yes.
And fire alarm started heading off one night, and we all thought it was just a normal fire drill. So we all walked out there in the middle of winter in Grahamstown to turn around and watch our hostel burn down.
Yes.
So
there was a classmate of yours that was interviewed. Who was it now? I'm trying to remember who it was. It's not Marcus Oshry. I'm trying to think who came in and spoke about it, but he's talking about
the hell of an adventure. I mean, it was amazing to sit there and watch corrugated iron just melt in this red thing sitting there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
They have to rebuild.
One day of school missed. I mean, this is a boarding school that off the borders of the school.
Jeez.
We missed one day. Ended up getting farmed out to our mates for the rest of the term.
Yes, everybody
lived in a hotel for a month and then in a gym hall for a year and a half. So it was a hell of an adventure.
Yes, I'm sure.
It was good fun. In retrospect.
Amazing. I'm shame, but that is a bit of a terrifying experience as well. The most physically painful thing that you've ever had?
Physically painful?
Yeah.
So short, sharp pain. I think I did a double stress fracture in my back when I was in matric.
How'd you manage that?
I just bowled too much.
Oh, bowling. Bowling
overuse.
Yes.
So I mean, it was just painful, and I think the biggest part of that was it just took so damn long to recover. But it was short, sharp things of pain, and then
you're still young,
lots of frustration and working it out. And I was 18 then. I was much younger then.
You're still young now. Give you a couple of years, you'll find something that'll be much more sore. Okay, final one. How is your life different than what you would have imagined? From when you started, when you were young.
When I was a seriously young laddie, I was going to play for South Africa. There was no doubt about it.
Okay. So cricket.
To when I had a reality check at the academy, and then I thought, well, now I'm going to be a hotshot marketer, because when I was at varsity, I actually partook in the Amway program and Network 21 and network marketing, and I thought I'm going to be retired by the time I'm 30. To living in New York, to just ultimately having settled in Eastern Cape and being fundamentally very happy with where life has taken us, and how happily and how much luck there's been along the way. It's been really
contentment in the end. And close to your family, and close to your what your heart says you wanted to do actually. Well, Llewellyn, it's been fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And I know there's probably one more from Gary. He's flashed it on the screen in front of me. It says, anything on your bucket list that you still want to do?
I want to go to the migration. That's something that I want to do. Is to see
the Masai Mara.
That'll be good fun, I reckon.
Kenya. Well, I believe it's amazing. I mean, I've never been there as well. So if you do go, with your company, let me know, and I'll come and entertain the guests. The guests for that night. But Llewellyn, thank you so much. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on the show. And we've got the big launch next week. The conference as well, with all your speakers, your guys there. I don't know if there's any more comments you want to have a look at. It's fine. I think we've been through everything the guys need to know, and it's been a great guest. In fact, it's been fantastic fun. We followed on to Daryl Cullen tonight, so at least we kept the cricket theme. And best of luck. Well, and I hope you bring your favourite musical clients from strength to strength.
Exactly.
Cheers. Thank you, Llewellyn. Thank you. Cheers.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Exciting times. ACS 360 has joined the Pinion Global Network.
Pinion Global Network is just that, a network of firms that have a strong focus on business services to the agri-industry. We are joining with a bigger and stronger team that we are culturally aligned with, which is very important, along with the wonderful team that we already have in front of us and behind us. Based on our findings, it will most likely result in a more sustainable business for us, a better service to our clients, and more opportunities for our people.
One of the fundamental reasons for the change is the future sustainability of the business. Not just the sustainability of our staff and what we do, the future sustainability of our clients and what they do.
Our history is one of focusing on efficiencies with our clients and driving their businesses.
It's a foundation that we're very proud to be building on. And as the world changes and it becomes smaller and the ability to network globally has significantly increased in recent years, we have taken the view that we will celebrate the past and embrace what lies ahead.
We're living in a world that changes quicker and quicker and quicker. The only way that businesses will survive this change, particularly commoditized businesses like agriculture, will be through continuous improvement. Interesting as to our opinion. We did an analysis of the shared values, and there's 100% alignment between ourselves and Pinion.
It was a natural fit to choose Pinion. The opportunities and alignment, shared value set that we have with the partners that are existing in the network, it really was a no-brainer.
The interesting thing is, why would Pinion choose Africa? And the reality is, Africa is growing.
Africa is the breadbasket of the world. The untapped opportunity set within our continent is frightening.
So what we'll see into the future is our clients growing into Africa and more food production happening in Africa. So we need to move with our clients and enable that to happen. I truly believe in collaboration. We've seen highly successful private equity deals where collaboration has driven our industry forward. The only limit is our imagination.
Our clear shared vision is to be the chosen agricultural advisory compliance business in Africa. And we'll do this by leveraging local and global talent and knowledge. To coin a word, glocal, leveraging global expertise with local execution and culture. A global menu with a local flavor. ACS 360 rebrands to Pinion. Ownership remains unchanged. Our team remains unchanged.
All the key relationships stay in place. The loved people that you love dealing with are still your key contacts.
Our service offering widens through the global network partners.
What does change is we access more global brains to be able to bring back. And hopefully what changes is our clients become more profitable.
And what does this mean for our people? Well, it means that we can attract and retain good people and good clients.
The reality is there's an enormous war on talent globally.
For us, it's about attracting the right next people into our business. We're building a succession-based model which includes all our staff into it. Staff retention is critical, particularly in this world where people can live anywhere and work anywhere. They want to be part of something that's bigger than just a local branch. They want to be part of something global, something exciting. And that's what we're becoming.
In conclusion, we are in an excellent position as a strong team of unique individuals with our various and complementary talents to execute this change successfully while leveraging the opportunities this brings to us all. We have the utmost faith in our team and their leaders to ensure that this process is a win-win for us all and to further showcase to our clients how effectively we manage and leverage change. A big thank you to our loyal staff and clients for joining us on this incredible journey. Here's to our exciting future with Pinion.